Yo, give me 1 second. Gotta get everything set up. You guys want to hop on stage with us? Feel free to. I'm probably going to change the name of this because, like, honestly, it should just be a shit on FTX space or shit on SBF. Not necessarily FTX, but like SBF and all that stuff. So, PP, welcome up, man. Happy Friday.
What's up, man? I just want to hop up here and say, uh, enjoyed your stream last night. Thought it was really good.
God. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah, dude, that was I honestly had a blast doing it.
It sounded like maybe something you forget about.
I had a blast doing it though. Like that was a ton of fun because I forget that, while you're streaming, you're
I couldn't tell. Were you drunk or high or just having a lot?
I might have had a Delta 8 earlier that evening before I started streaming, and it might have just added to the comedy and the quality of the content a little bit. So I enjoyed it though. Hey, I do have to ask. So, anything as far as like the audio side of it that you would have switched up, like with like forget the playlist, but music, whatever else.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that later, but I was going to kind of talk to you about the setup that we're using for our spaces. It's a super cheap audio mixer. It actually comes with a really good mic. Bog has one, and you're able to mix your audio straight in. This would work on iPhone or like Mac or PC or whatever you were doing. I would say the music was very faint. I would pop the music up a little
Good to
bit.
know. Good to
But
know.
one cool thing that this mixer does, yeah, one cool thing that this mixer does that we have is it's got kind of like a backtrack. So like if you have music pumping, it'll automatically lower itself when you start talking. So like you can set a vibe and it'll like automatically adjust as you talk. It actually sounds really good.
It's interesting because I actually heard the music pretty loud yesterday.
Really?
I don't know, maybe I'm just sensitive on my
Well,
Mac
bro,
the
did
way
you
it's
did
set
you
up,
hop in
but
during the Nickelback portion or earlier?
yeah, I did.
Okay, because like the Nickelback portion, I blared it because everybody was
Well,
shitting
you
on
were
my
also
music. No, they were shitting on like the Jack Johnson playlist and all that type of stuff. So I was like, all right, like you
Dude, I
want more music? I will put it on Nickelback, and I'm just gonna blare this. Like for some reason, that just made the most sense at that point in time. I thought it'd be
that's
the funniest thing.
hilarious.
I nearly died laughing.
I would say like even if like even though it was your first stream, you did have some riffraff in there. I would suggest getting a mod because
Oh,
like the chat
dude.
was going
And
wild.
that's the thing too, like why I didn't really try to hype it up too much. I started off with like 18 people that were watching that I guess just subbed last year. And then, it started off nice. Nobody was really saying anything in the chat. So I was like, okay, I'll do a really just vague late night tweet about it. So I did it and, I ended up getting a couple hundred people in there throughout most of it. And at that point, with a couple hundred, started reaching the point, like you said, where there was, a little bit more riffraff in the discourse for the chat box. And it's like, okay, I definitely need to figure out how to upgrade a few people on there
Yeah,
as
no,
mods.
I'd be more than happy to help you out, man. Just reach out. That's what I do full time is video production. So more than happy to.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I was looking at it like thinking about getting a roadcaster, whatever that is. I know a lot of people have that set up. So, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that's it's very
No,
similar to the
I think
board
you
that
should
we
do that
use.
more often, bro. Like
Yeah,
the
I
Twitch with
agree.
fire. Yeah, like just you being on point, just being able to move around your computer and click buttons. I think it helps you, convey the message a little bit more effectively apart from, a Twitter space, right? And then people are actually interacting with you at the same time. Like I'm actually excited to see maybe from what I've heard that Twitter might be implementing something like that down the road. But for right now, that Twitch is a fire way to make some content, bro.
Yeah.
One thing I thought about, Kalea, is like when you're doing those, like if you had some sort of mixer, and I think the one that we have would work, like you could honestly do a Twitch stream and a Twitter space at the same time. So basically you could do what you're doing now, but also stream your screen and also pump in this other speakers as a like an audio source to the Twitch stream and just do like a hybrid. I think it would be really dope.
Yeah, PP, I've done that before. So here's the thing. I think that it's like a decent way of going about it for like the interview conversation type format, because I did that last year. Like, I don't think you followed me back then, but 80s was around. You probably saw it a couple times when I tried it out, when I would do both, right? And nobody else really did anything like that at the time, because I just had my computer pick up, or I had spaces on in the background of the PC, and I just had Streamlabs pick up the PC audio, so it ended up carrying over to it. But it was kind of tough because then not everybody that was a speaker was able to interact with the screen or see what was going on with it, and it didn't make as much sense like that. But I don't know, man, because I'm thinking about it, like, if you're just sitting there talking into the void, is it really? But yeah, anyway, man, like, how is everybody making it right now? It's it's been a tough past few days.
So I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm down bad, not because of FTX, but apparently I missed out on this awesome Twitch stream last night. So,
dude, I don't even know if you can go back and watch it. Like, do these stay recorded?
Like I said, man, I'm down bad.
Yeah, I think you have to click an option to like have it viewable later, but I think it's on by default, if I'm not mistaken.
Bro, let's see this. I will go to my profile right now, and we'll see whether or not it actually was on the channel. I'm so bad at Twitch, it took me a couple minutes to even find my channel.
Yeah,
okay, it looks like it is not up. Well, yeah, it's not up. It's only somebody did like a little snip. So there is 26 seconds of content on there for anybody that wanted to watch it. 26 seconds. But dude, I'm telling you, like, it was a blast. I really enjoyed having you guys up there and in it. Like, so I'll definitely keep it up and do it again. Like you said, I just need to figure out a few of the nuances, but it was a test stream, so just do another few test streams and kind of keep tweaking it a little bit. But definitely something that I'm going to do a lot more going forward. I just I think that there's a lot of potential with that. Like, not that I'm going to stop doing spaces, but I think a little combination of both is it'll be fun.
I think it will be fun too, and a combination of both until we get something a little bit better. And PP, if you don't mind, what's up, brother? I'm 80s, by the way. If it's cool, could I DM you and ask you a couple questions? Sounds like you know a little bit more about what we're trying to do in Room 110, and I'd like to maybe ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
I'm always good for a good brain picking, bro. I just followed you, so just reach out. Be happy to help. But
Appreciate
to answer,
you, brother.
yeah, answer your question, Kalea, like I'm doing okay from the fallout. I saw a meme the other day. It's like the middle bell curvers were the least affected by this and Luna, because like the lower bell curve got affected by Luna, and then like the upper tier bell curve got affected by FTX. But the people who were just like, skeptical of everything didn't get affected by both, and I'm always middle bell curving everything, so I actually came out okay on this. But it is interesting to see the contagion fallout from all this.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely insane. 80s. How about yourself, sir?
No, I was going to say, the cascading event that's ensuing right now, it's like, there's not many words that I can offer to many people right now other than just like, if you need somebody to reach out to and hit me up, man. That I did want to ask you, because I have not checked personally. I was going to do that this weekend, but I'm pretty sure it's similar. What about the NFTs we dropped on FTX? Are those gone too now?
So I wouldn't see a reason why those wouldn't be, but I would withdraw them as soon as possible right now. I'm not sure exactly what they have or have not shut down yet. So, last that I checked, like I had some change on FTX US that I took out of there this morning, and I didn't have an issue with it. I'd already removed the majority of the FTX US side of the funds a couple days ago, right after all this started. But I think like the FTX US referrals, bro, like it's absolutely nothing. I think I'd get like $8 or $10 on a day. And so I just looked at that, and for the experiment side of it was like, okay, well, this change came in. Let me see if I can withdraw it. And withdrew it. Didn't have an issue with it this morning. But I also did another test yesterday where I sent like just $110 to my FTX Blockfolio account. And I tried the ACH withdrawal, and the ACH withdrawal kept giving me an error message with like Stripe account not found. And from what I could tell at the time, this is before the bankruptcy, whatever filings, like that's actually a pretty common occurrence with any organization or entity whenever they're experiencing just a massive flood. It's like going to a web page domain that just doesn't have the capacity whenever a viral moment happens, and you show up and it's like you can't go to it, you can't access it. Same type of thing with that. So I tried the wire withdrawal. The reason why I sent $110 is because like $100 is the minimum that you can do for a wire withdrawal. So tried the wire withdrawal, and it said it processed it. But when I did wire, anytime I've done wires out of there in the past, they're typically there within like a day. And so far, like, I have not seen it yet. It's been I guess it's been just a little over a day. I tried that yesterday morning. So I don't know, man. Like that's something that's a little bit more disconcerting, but it also makes sense too from the wire side of it, where a lot of those wires I think have to be manually processed. So again, whenever you've got just this backlog and a shit show going on in the back office, I could understand how that could be pushed back. So haven't lost hope that the cash side is out yet, but what I think is the safest side still would be just to move your assets, on chain. So, you've got USDC, whatever else, just withdraw it, move it on chain. Heck, you could move it to Coinbase, like whatever other exchange that you actually trust right now. But again, I think just keeping it on keeping it on chain would be the safest thing that you could possibly do at the moment. And I didn't have any issue whenever I did that. So again, with the cash side of it, a little bit of issues, but as far as like the crypto side, still didn't really encounter any issues yet. Haven't tried anything though since, it's been a few hours.
And for the people who are just listening, this is Blockfolio, right?
Yeah, which Blockfolio and FTX US, it's same account, right? Like so.
So you talk about like trusting maybe like Coinbase or something like that, or somebody that you trust. How can one like really put their faith in any kind of fucking trust right now in anything?
It's
can
tough,
you speak
man.
on that?
Dude, yeah, no, I'll definitely say what I can, because I was taken completely off guard. You can look at it, dude. The entire industry was taken completely off guard by this, right? Like, it's just something that I don't think there are a few people that can say they saw something with this coming, but nobody saw the extent, right? Like, I don't care who you are, nobody saw the extent of this. You can go down the list of how everything was portrayed socially. First off with, that built up this layer and this ecosystem of trust. And it starts with like how SBF, like for instance, the Cointelegraph thing that I shared yesterday. He was ranked the #1 most influential person in like Cointelegraph. I don't really take anything they say seriously, but still, it shows perception, public perception. He was the #1 ranked. CZ was like the 51st ranked, right? Like, he was the king of crypto. He was the golden child. He made relationships with the GOAT, Tom Brady, with Steph Curry, right? These other sexy endorsements. He had politicians in his back pocket. He seemed to care. He was donating, forget the political side of things, which, he was donating on the political side of things, which still makes you think, okay, like, this guy can't be involved in too much shit if he's like in that close with politicians. And, obviously they can go either. But anyway, like, it just, it blows my mind, man. The other initiatives that they did, as far as, they were always one of the first ones on the scene. Like, I think back to the Kobe Twitch streams before they really started up only, right? When Kobe would just get on, and like Mellaby and, Cameron Ferguson, some of those people, where they'd get up and they went through and did these streams, and who were the first people to match them? Like FTX, SPF, right? Like, they just built up such a solid reputation that just slowly over the past 6 months, I feel like, has started to erode away. And, I just chalk that up to the fact that I'm like, well, you're the hero of one cycle, you're the villain of the next. People's bags are down bad. It is what it is. Like, they've got a sound mind. They'll fight through this. But then they fucked us. And yeah, man, so it sucks. So as far as building trust and finding, like, how do you handle this next? I think that just, I want to be really careful as far as trying to do as much due diligence as possible with like this greater level of transparency that's going to have to become just a complete industry standard after this. I think that may be one silver lining. So hopefully we get a little bit more transparency. But yeah, man, it's tough.
I think the most harmful thing that's happened from this is it set the industry back years, if not, a long time. We were just getting to the point where people were starting to be like, crypto's mainstream, like, we can trust this. This is like what we're familiar with. But I think this incident alone, like, if you're an outsider looking in, you're like, I'm not going anywhere near that space. And it's just very unfortunate.
So, question on that, PP. How many people have you met that has actually heard of it? Because I brought it up at work, and literally even the people that I've gotten into crypto, like on the side, even they haven't heard about it yet.
I've had several people reach out to me because I was like, I live in a small town, and like all the people that like know about crypto always like text me or like reach out to me about stuff, and yeah, I've had several people reach out to me about it, but yeah, I just think it's a bad look, even if you weren't affected. And honestly, with the amount of people who were like putting money in FTX, I think this contagion is probably going to spread over in traditional finance, and like as well as time ticks on. It's just sad.
I think a lot of people too. Like I've had my wife's mother reached out too. She was like, "What the hell happened?" Because we were talking about maybe getting her invested in some cryptos too. My dad from across my stepdad from across the country reached out to me. I had a couple friends in Peru reach out to me, and they're nowhere near even plugged in. So I think this is making waves, as far as information is being, it's not good as far as like the public sentiment. Like us that are plugged into this know, the long term, right? The whole zoom out meme, it's a reality though, because we are plugged into it. But the average people that have been skeptical or have been thinking about it for quite some time, I think it's going to take a massive push from people like us, the innovators with pure intentions, that are going to have to change the landscape moving forward for getting those outside investors back in.
Well, you said it last night.
No,
too,
definitely, man.
Go
ahead, PP.
Yeah, you said it last night best. Like, if this didn't happen, we'd be in like 25, 26K range, or like, and ETH would probably be above 2,000 just because of everything that's going on. But like, this is like the worst time this could possibly happen.
Yeah, I mean, you can say coulda, shoulda, woulda all day, but I mean, I really just don't see how anybody can think and believe anything differently, right? Like with equities literally having their best day after the CPI print on record in the past like 2 years since literally the rebound of the V reversal for the COVID crash, right? Like, there's no way. And Bitcoin was just breaking out versus it entering into the weekend. Like, I really think that momentum was going to continue forward, right? Like, why not? Tech stocks outperformed, outperformed SPX, and it's just one of those things where people were flocking back a little bit more to the risk on side of things. You've got Dixie plummeting, and like all these kind of what traditionally would have been the perfect combo for just this squeeze higher. And, who knows? Like, if all that happened, it's one of those things where I still have trouble. I want to be careful, and I think it's not very helpful to resent anyone for the way that this went down, right? It's easy to sit there and blame CZ, right? Because you can sit there and say, what if all day, right? You can say, well, we'd be at 25K right now, and ETH might be at 2K, and, all this shit. And that means FTT might have ended up bouncing back a little bit. And hey, maybe some of these other, maybe they had loans collateralized also in Bitcoin and ETH and Sol and this and that. And if all these bounce back, well, maybe they would have been fine. And, then maybe also volumes ticked up and they would have generated enough revenue. You know what? You can say maybe all day, but also maybe not, right? Like maybe it just pushes the problem back and it ends up growing bigger and it ends up falling out later and hurting more people. So as much as it freaking sucks, it's like, one way or the other, I feel like it was almost inevitable because what
Yeah.
it feels like really happened here is that they were trying to gamble their way out of a mess, right? And there's no guarantee when you try to gamble your way out of a mess, there's a good chance that like whatever got you into that mess in the first place, the same type of approach, you might end up back there again and you're going to keep gambling.
Yeah. Especially if they're supposed to be like one of the most trusted people in the space. We need to get them out of the space as fast as effing possible. So, yeah, it happened. It sucks. It's going to take some time to rebuild.
Yeah.
Do you guys think there might be any push for actually good regulation to occur now based on what we've seen happen?
They're talking about backing the bill that Sam fucking backed with the senators, the regulation bill. I'll pin it up here to the top so you guys can read it. But yeah, they're talking about doing that right now. The same shit that he backed. It's crazy.
Yeah, I want to see what more of the highlights are on that because honestly, like I read in detail his proposal. Where is it? I've got it up somewhere. I might have closed it out on, like I downloaded it, copied, pasted it. And the funny thing is, leading up to this, right before the whole thing happened, I actually had like something written up on his proposal that he had for crypto, DeFi regulation, all of that. But I'm not sure how much of that was actually included in the bill and how much of it was just suggested for another thing. Yeah, it's the possible digital assets industry standards, right? So like I read through this entire thing. And hey, there were some things that I was like, yeah, I kind of understand the logic with this. But, frankly, what I was going to say about it is I respected him trying to do whatever. And this is when I was ignorant, but I was like, I don't think that he really got it right here. But, in the back of my mind, I was sitting there still thinking like, well, there's no way this guy really wants to do anything too detrimental to the industry with the way that he's approaching everything. But like, fuck, man, at this point, I mean, who knows? Like, he really might have. It just, it's tough to
goes back
believe
to that
anything.
trust, man. It goes back to that trust. How can you even trust anything that he touched anymore? It's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah, man, it's really really difficult. So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a mess, and it's gonna take longer to unwind, unfortunately. But um, here again, I think is the silver lining, and I talked about it on the space last night. Like, I don't even think it's really worth it right now, at least from my side of things. Like, bro, I'm not really looking at any charts right now. I'm not going to say Bitcoin's going to be higher or lower or what price it's going to be in the next month. Like, I have no idea because as all this plays out, right, like there are a lot of things that we just don't know right now that are bigger than ourselves. And, you know, one of the things I said during the space was talking about a liquidation cascade. Like, think back to the BitMEX days, right? Where when BitMEX during let's see, it was the COVID crash. It was just tanking down, and it looked like there was no bottom until Arthur basically pulled the plug and stopped MEX from continuing to just liquidate these positions, and the market ended up recovering pretty quickly from that. But it crashed. So I'm looking at this just as a liquidation cascade on a slower scale, right? Because it takes time for a lot of these numbers to actually go back, and people to know what the damage actually is, assess it, and then after they're hurt, well then guess what? They may hurt somebody else. So it just is a slower process for the same liquidation cascade. I think that one way or the other will end up oversold, and we'll end up bouncing back. But when and how, like there's no way of saying that anybody can know right now.
What are the other alternatives that you could see, maybe a path forward in the future outside of the central exchanges for the masses? I don't know if you're on mute or not, but
oh yeah, shoot, I was muted. Yeah, man. So let's see. I think a lot of it just goes back to what we were talking about earlier. We're just increasing the level of transparency. Proof of funds, I think, is going to be huge, right? Like, the same type of thing where everybody remember whenever Tether back in the day, one of their biggest gripes that a lot of people had against them was that there was no way to be able to prove their assets. And, that became this whole legal deal. And now, ended up tracing back, and they've got to show proof of reserves and, keep that completely. So I think something like that, man, has to be an industry standard basically going forward. And obviously, that doesn't mean that, like, here's the thing with crypto that attracts people to a lot of the places that don't necessarily have that is, there might be some type of ARB opportunity or this or that. So, right, like, people are going to gamble where they can. But at the end of the day, man, what it goes back to, and I think what this really reminds us more than anything else, is what I learned like on day number one, whenever I list Andreas Antonopoulos back in the day, when I first learned about, Bitcoin, anything else, not your keys, not your coin, right? Like, it is a healthy reminder. I think that we just got so complacent that the system built itself big enough that nothing can fail, that we kind of forgot about that. And there were a lot of people that have just, never really been raised in that mentality, or that have had it, that just think that it's irrelevant now. And I don't think that's the case. I think that, it's a healthy reminder at the end of the day. Like, that's one of the benefits, one of the huge value propositions of Bitcoin, right? Is the self custody, and avoiding the centralization side of it. So, I think it's a healthy reminder to remember that.
I think also ease of access too. That got people complete at a high level of complacency, I would say, with the ease of access with central exchanges. I mean, it's just boom, boom, done. There's a few more steps to go, to hold the not your keys, not your wallet type deal. But I think that's where a lot of us need to grow from too, on top of that, and have that reminder. You're absolutely right, man. It's a kick in the nuts, but it is what it is,
Honestly, I think it was less of ease of access for FTX, and it was more just based on trust. Like, you had trusted figures, as in like Tom Brady, Steph Curry, like all these people new in love. Like, we're just standing up for this platform and for SBF as a whole. It just really sucks.
I mean, you had like me, and you had Kobe, you had Ledger, you had Crypto Cred. Like, you had a lot of other people that, it just like I said it a lot during the space. Like, I really do have a high standard with who I trust. And yeah, man, obviously, so from the depths of CT all the way up to the likes of TB, Tom Brady, it just, it's wild, man. So I'm surprised. So 80s, you said that you have had a few people that your wife has talked to that's asked what the hell's going on, right?
Oh yeah. And like I said last night, I had a person from Peru. This guy I met while I was down there. We keep in touch, and he's in the fucking mountains. He texted me last night. He's like, "What the hell's going on with crypto?" Because obviously I was showing him on crypto the whole time I was there too, like an asshole. Now I feel bad, but it is what it is. And yeah, a lot of people, man, from all over.
Well, you know what I'm going to try to do here in a second? So I am going to try to get on. I'm pretty positive I still have a few stonks on the FTX US site. So just for the sake of all y'all, everybody in there, I will check that out and do what I can to see what it looks like processing that withdrawal. I'll let you know here in a bit.
Appreciate that.
Good luck, man.
Oh yeah, but
we're all biting our nails, waiting.
Yeah,
I could have swore I saw something like earlier today where it said like NFTs were still like working or something like that, but I've never worked with NFTs on FTX, so I don't really know much more.
Yeah, I think another thing to think about on like the NFT front is the contagion from all this. You got to think, and I don't know how many projects have came forward about it, but like, what projects held their entire, treasury on FTX or Blockfolio or, yeah, it's just sucks, man.
Yeah, it seems to be a talk of the morning right now in NFT Twitter. I've seen a lot of tweets this morning. I know Pons just released from the frogs that they're completely safe and they don't do any of that. It's their keys, obviously.
Ones are safe. I've already like checked it, so we're good. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I think if your founder is super quiet right now, maybe something to look into.
All right, I do have one. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and try this one right here. Let's see how it works. So let's see, Husker. You said that you haven't had anybody reach out to you yet, though. That's kind of surprising, man, because I won't lie. Like, I've had so many people that have reached out to me that didn't even know I was involved in, or actually, better said, I've talked to a lot of my friends that, actually work in corporate jobs right now, and that they do know, or, they've said that it's been a huge point of conversation in offices right now.
Yeah, that might be the difference between me and you. Like, I don't work in corporate finance or anything close to it. So that might be one reason why, like, even I'm known as like the guy in crypto, like in my workspace. But literally, I even like talked to one of the guys that I've gotten into crypto, and like he hadn't heard about it, and no one else like seemed to even pipe up at all. So
I need more friends like yours, Husker.
Yeah, man.
hey, it's great in times like these, but really boring during the bull runs when like you're super hyped and like no one gives a shit.
Yeah, right. I've experienced that time or two.
Well, I have to have my penguin friends.
I'm about to grab some breakfast with the family, but pleasure talking to you, man. Hopefully everybody...
Oh, wait, shit. Before you go...
What's up?
I just tried withdrawing my stonk, and it said NFTs are temporarily undergoing maintenance.
Here we fucking go.
Fuck us, right?
I have like
go ahead and put the tweet out, Kalia.
Yeah, some fire ribbons.
You can get some engagement if you screenshot that right now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I will go ahead and do that because like people deserve to know what's going on.
They
Like
do.
it's not even about the engagement, it's about like letting people know what the hell's happening. Like it sucks.
Before I hop off here, love you guys. Everybody's listening. If you're going through a hard time, feel free to DM me. DMs are open. Take care.
Appreciate you coming up, man.
See.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
What's up, man?
So I heard you guys saying about corporate offices. So I work in a corporate office, and everybody's asking me if I'm okay. I'm like, yeah, I am. There's this thing called a short button.
So, but I mean, people know and they're talking about it, right? Like, do they know you as the either, the crypto guy or the NFT guy? Are you very vocal about that? Or is it just something?
One guy asked me one day, hey, have you heard about crypto? And I just kind of looked up and I'm like, a little bit. And it kind of turned into people knowing me that I had crypto. And then, so I kind of came the go-to guy about market analysis, which I'm like, dude, you're in the wrong fucking place asking me. But I did warn some people about like, hey, you might want to take some off your table if you're in 401ks. But this was like before the COVID drop where I was like, yo, something's coming. So, but yeah, lots changed since then.
So what I'm curious about is what do they all think about it, right? Because we have our echo chamber that is crypto Twitter or NFT Twitter, whatever the hell niche corner you're plugged into. I feel like we have a little different understanding of this and a little bit of a different place than a lot of other people that are, the outsiders, because we know a lot of the people that have been involved with all of this. We've seen it all grow and we've seen it come crashing down. So from an outsider's point of view, what are you hearing from just the people that have heard about the fallout but aren't really, too much on the inside?
The sad part about it really is the people that are close to retirement and have like been relying on like, oh, I have this much money in my 401k and all that stuff. Like I have a few people like in that 55, 60 range, and I tell them don't look at your amount right now. It's just you're just gonna it's not good for you. And like one lady's like, I wish I would when you asked me or when I asked you to sell and you didn't say anything. I wish I would have sold. But nobody knows. Nobody knows. I can't tell you I knew. I just said, hey, risk management's good. But I'm a dad, 2 kids, so I'm a little careful sometimes. But I did tell people to, get some corn today. So,
stacking sats.
Yeah.
Hey, that is something that I will continue to say though, right? Like my biggest thing throughout all of this is continue to be in the heart of the bear market, right? Like what do you want to actually stack? Like the shit coins, everything else, they're for trading, right? But what you actually want to stack at the end of the day is Bitcoin. Like I'll throw Ethereum in that basket too, right? Like Bitcoin, ETH, like that's what I focus on actually stacking for the, and it's, I think that still in this price range, right? After this contagion, after this fallout, again, I'm not sure how low it'll go, but I do believe that we will end up back higher from here. It's just a matter of, when and what that looks like. But if you've got a multi-year time horizon with this, I have a hard time believing that it's not something that will eventually recover, right? Like Bitcoin has died so many times that it can't die again, right? Like what's dead cannot die. And, one group of assholes that like to have an orgy in the Bahamas that, built up this treasure trove and war chest and built this public image is not going to kill Bitcoin, right? Like,
absolutely. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, and I think like with all cycles, everybody ends up coming back to Big Mama, right? Big Mama Bitcoin or Big Papa Bitcoin. So it's just, it's part of the cycle that everybody just, flocks back to the original state of crypto, I think, which is, stacking sats. But it's it's cool to watch. Like, I'm a mental health professional, so it's cool to watch all like the chaos that's happening right now. And for me, like in my background, I've been known to like manage chaos. And yeah, right now it's chaos, and I'm trying to stay cool. So it's an interesting time.
Not sure how accurate this above image that but a listener in here just reached out to me, and so we should take a look at it. I think it's pretty interesting to see how far the tentacles do actually go.
Jesus Christ. What's going on, guys? I'm not even going to ask how you guys are doing. It's been a while.
Doing well, man. You know what I hated? I was trying to say something to you 2 seconds ago. You said, "Freaking!" I was muted the whole time that I was talking. It's funny. Um, but yeah, doing well, Easel. It's one of those things where I just think that you can't stress about what you can't change. And as difficult as it is, and I understand, right? Like, it sucks. I was really impacted by this as well. And it's just something that like I can't, if you just sit there and you focus on what happened, you're not going to be able to do anything about what's going to happen to you down the road, right? Like you still have that control. You have the ability to be able to come out of this stronger. It's a matter of just being able to buckle down and having that mental fortitude, as difficult as that may be, right? Like I believe everything in life happens for a reason. I'm a huge believer of that. And, like Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, those who have been called according to his purpose. Like, I believe that with my whole heart, right? So sometimes I believe things happen in your life that may humble you, ground you, force you to reevaluate, change course. And you can sit there and say, well, damn, that sucks. My entire life was ruined. Or you can celebrate it in a way that says, man, this may be difficult, but there's something better on the other side.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I love that. In times like this, we want to try to be compassionate for people's situations, but that's like the most realist and God's honest truth that you just spit right now. Kick the dirt off your shoulders. Get the fuck up. It's time to get back to work. And
100%.
in any situation in life, whether you lose your net worth or whether you break your neck like I did 7 years ago, don't let anything fucking stop you, man. Keep going. Don't ever stop living this life to your full potential. There's going to be hardships along the way. There's going to be trauma along the way. There's going to be collapses that happen out of fucking nowhere. But you know what? We are resilient human beings, and we're here for a reason. Shine on.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I want to say a little something to the situation. I've been off Twitter completely. Been doing a lot on the backside. Obviously, every day, watching the markets and stuff like that, but not really communicating with anybody. Obviously, with this happening, I wanted to come by and say what up. And this, when you go through shit in life, it feels bad. Like this time, it feels bad. Luna, it sucked, but it's like, it's a shit coin. But this feels bad. Knowing people that lost money and shit like that, and it's tough. Sometimes you go through shit in life, and it's hard. And when you least expect it, it gets harder. Like when you're already down, something else comes up, or when you're about to come up, boom, you get slammed back down. And as dark as it gets, in those moments of doubt and fear, because it's the unknown. What are you gonna do now? What's gonna happen? Like shit. Well, as long as you're breathing, you can move an arm. You have an opportunity to, do it again. And that is all there is. As much as it sucks, you either stay down or you get up. Like there's nothing else in between. And obviously, if you get up and you try again, you'll see the light. But it sucks. It sucks. It fucking sucks. But it does get better. Like it does.
It does. I mean, I like to say it does get better. And, if you stuck around and you still have some, some give in you, what I would say is sometimes the pain, it gives you a little bit like a bitter edge on execution. Like, especially like I'm not a fan of leverage trading. I do it, but I'm not a fan of it. I traded spot for who knows how long. I remember trading Link and being like, wow, this is awful. And KNC was like no volume, right? That's how I learned how to trade. But it's just one of those things when you're able to take hits, you get a better idea of when to get in and out and how much pain you can take. So, losses aren't bad if you just don't blow yourself completely up. So yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, whatever I did with my spread, I had like $1,500 left from the last run. So it sucks, but you can come back up.
Think
Yeah,
the
definitely.
I think the hardest thing also when this type of hit is when you do everything right, you are doing what you got to do. You're working hard, and because somebody else, you get to pay. Similar to an accident or something. An asshole came and hit you. That is a little harder than you making a mistake. And obviously, FTX, market the shit out of the exchange. It was the exchange for the new guy. So it sucks even more in that way.
Hey,
Gainsies.
Cleo, thanks for hosting this space, man. I got to grab some lunch, but much love to everyone up here and in the crowd.
Much love, Husk.
Yeah, no problem, man. Take it easy. All right, Mr. DoorDash
I was
driver,
gonna say his
what's going
name. That
on?
shit is hilarious, man. I love it.
Hey, I'm about to have to really get that DoorDash job now. But no, I would just give some advice to people. Don't try to revenge trade this. Like the market is so predatory, and it's just there's so much uncertainty, and just trying to trade right now is just asking for it. Like only the Giga Brains, which is probably 99% not us. Um, and just wait to see what comes of this. We don't know what other firms are going to become insolvent or how many people had their treasuries on there. Yeah, I would just say don't make any rash decisions. You took a hit. It is what it is, but at the same time, I think opportunities are arising and stuff is starting to get to levels where it's at least looking interesting for me on the majors. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for me.
Appreciate that point of view, brother. One last thing I'll say on the matter is anybody that is involved in this, or we're all involved in this because we're all in this space together. So if we know somebody, it's affecting us too. It's ripple effects, right? And I know the culture is show up, grind every day, but maybe take a couple days off and just unplug from all the noise, all the shit. Let it blow over for a couple days because there's going to be more coming up, and our brains are going to just continue to be overloaded. Maybe take a step back and have a fresh perspective of coming back in, and maybe your sentiment might realign again with some kind of positive attitude. So that was just one last thing I wanted to say on that matter.
Bro, I agree. Hey, here's the positive about our wonkies being stuck on FTX US, the ones we've got on there, it's just supply burn, right? We just have to find the FTX US address and we can count the number of wonkies on there. We can just write them off for now and count that as a supply burn. So, no, I really hope not. I don't know. I'll look at it. Like, I want to talk and see. We'll see what all's stuck on there. I'll probably just say F it and say whoever has their stonks on there. I'm not even sure. Let's see how many are on there right now before I commit to anything. Okay, we've got 124 stonks.
Oh, wow.
Bro, that's a lot more than I thought were
That's a lot
there.
more than I thought, too.
Okay. So, I don't know, bro. I will try my hardest, though. Oh, shit, man. There's a guppy on there, too. Is that B-Ways?
That's B-Ways. That's got to be B-Ways.
Shit, man.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so I was reading, though, something a second ago that was saying that right now there's a high chance it's just shut down because of the fact that, they declared whatever, and there was some shady shit with the NFTs going on last night. So I think that they might have shut down the NFT trading because a lot of people were using that to siphon funds over these Bohemian accounts. So I don't know. They may just be a temporary and come back up type of thing, because I really don't know at the end of the day why they wouldn't allow you to extract these NFTs, right? Like, what are they claiming? Like, how does that work as some type of collateral for them? Are they counting it? Like, there's no way, right? So I still have more hope than anything that these will be able to be withdrawn, that after the dust settles, they'll reach a point where they're like, okay, you can no longer trade these on here, but you can withdraw your assets. That's my assumption still for what's going to happen with these. So I'm really not counting as a full lost cause yet. But, if not, then, I mean, if it is, then, bro, I want to look at it, and I'll, like, I mean, hell, I want to be able to do some type of thing to be able to help whoever has their stonks on there. So I'll probably end up trying to, whether it's like, one for every two stonks or whatever it is, I'll try to get a list of everybody that has it and can, kind of prove their wallet and whatever else, and, send what I can to try to help people out with that, because I hate seeing people that trusted, me, that deposited stonks and put them on there, that now have them stuck. So, it's just not fair to be able to do that. So, like, I'm going to do whatever I can for you guys that are in that situation, for my collection, and be able to help you guys out with that. So, just, I think it's going to be something where we'll just have to be patient, see exactly what that looks like still. I think, again, just waiting for more communication from them on what the actual game plan is. I'll try to reach out to whoever I can there still. It's been a shit show for them internally, from what I can tell, because they were all taken off guard too. Like, imagine if your employer stabs you in the back, destroys equity that they convinced you to invest in there. We're paying you with equity. We're doing this and that, ruin your name because you're now associated with this mess. And you did nothing wrong yourself. You were doing your hardest to bust your ass and work work toward something, toward this vision that you were sold. And, like, what really incentivizes you to stick around and do anything else for them, right? When you're not even guaranteed your next paycheck. And, I think that there are a lot of people that are in that situation. A lot of the people that are still working right now and responding and doing anything are just doing it because, like, they have sympathy toward the situation, right? They have, a good moral compass. And I think that's what the average is for the person that's affected in there. They were affected the same or worse than we were, right? Like, it's a shit show at the top tiers, but, when it goes down the list, it just, there were a lot of other good people affected with this, even internally at FTX.
Should have known it was a big red flag when they fucked us over on our stonk at the FTX arena.
Yeah, man, no joke. You're right. Amen. Preach it. Bro, it was supposed to be up there. We were told and promised, and got completely rugged on that stonk in the arena. So, yeah, and I'll put something out on the Discord about what we just talked about there too here in a bit, because I think that it's something important. I'm looking through. I'm kind of curious. I'm going to go through the collections and just see what all else is stuck on there right now, as far as some of the bigger name collections too, because that's kind of interesting to me. Okay. Bored Ape. There are 106 Bored Apes on there.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy, all like the tunnel that people have been going through. But did you see like one of their biggest like seed rounds was for Yuga Labs?
Yeah, man. And that's something that I know that they're really, I don't know, that's something interesting to see, because they said that they've got no assets on there. And then, there are all these people that are showing screenshots of wallets with transactions where they've interacted with deposits. And I know, so the FTX venture side did a big raise with Ape, right? And with Yuga, going into all of that. So who knows what's actually happening there, but I know that there needs to be more clarity that they end up putting out there about the situation as well. So, and you know what? F it. Like I said that a second ago. I looked at the number of stonks that are on there. Like, bro, I will 1-for-1 on anything that's stuck on the exchange right now. If we are not able to withdraw these and they end up getting to that point and they say you can't, like, I'll end up making people whole because it may not be the same stonk, the same quality, but there's just no reason not to with that. So, we'll figure that out when the time comes. But, worst case scenario, they're stuck on there. I give out more stonks to y'all, and we sit there on a collection where the supply just reduced a little bit, right? So, yeah.
I want to send a message to is like whoever's around and you feel like lost. A lot of times people are open to answering questions. I mean, if sometimes you don't get your questions answered because there's so many bots in your DMs and you're just like suspicious activity. But yeah, I for one, when people ask me questions in DM, like I'm always like, yeah, I'll give you what I know kind of thing. It's like, and make a community of friends. Don't make a community around a chain. That's what I'm going to say. It's very dangerous to make a community around a chain because if that thing rugs, it's hard to get out of the mentality that this community is behind you. And I think the Solana community is pretty awesome. I really do. But the thing is like when all this shit's happening, it's really hard to believe that it's actually getting affected. And then you realize until it's kind of a little too late. And yeah,
it turns into that tribal mentality at that point. It's that constant reinforcing echo chamber when in reality it's a completely different picture.
Yeah, and it's like, what did you say about my coins? And it's like, no, dude. It's like, hey, the whole ship is coming down. Chill, And it's just a lot easier when you kind of have your friends that you talk about any kind of asset in crypto or anywhere, and just build that little friendship where they're actually like looking out for each other. I mean, I have my little community, and it's pretty awesome to be part of them because you got the sweaty traders and you got the people that are like, hey, I don't know what's going on, what's happening. You're like, well, check this out. So yeah, make friends. They're around. It's just there's not gonna be a lot of people around, so you got a few people to ask. I mean, Kaleo's been running these spaces forever. I really like coming up here just because it's like very copacetic. It's not this like argument back and forth and stuff.
No, man, we keep it real up here, dude. Very chill, always good, pure intention vibes, man.
Dope. Love it.
Not gonna lie, with with all this stuff and looking to be a builder in this space for a long time, like I'm in my head leaning, preparing and doing little things to become part of this for the long. Seeing shit like that for a moment, it sucks because it delays things, right? Also, talking about Solana before, having them back it up so much that at the end it ended up hurting it. And who the heck knows by the time it's all said and done where everything is going to end up. But, I still believe, and I still have my, I'm not talking about just the investing and buying Bitcoin, but creating and investing time in this space. Still believe so. I think it is important to keep your head up and stay in the grind, even if it takes some hits like this for the confidence of the space.
Yep.
Yeah. So, by the way, I was looking on there. It doesn't look like there's anything else that's too insane as far as what's stuck on there. There's like one subduck sucks. There are 11 pudgies that are stuck on there. And like, bro, there's one that I'm looking at that is a sexy ass. Actually, okay, that's not the one that's actually featured, but I mean, there's still 11 pudgies that are on there, which absolutely sucks to see. And let's see what else we've got. 9 mutant apes, 735 parallel, but bro, parallel is like talking about pennies. 41 on-chain monkeys. I'm not even sure what the floor is on an on-chain monkey right now, but I know that they were, pretty popular at one point. 23 Forgotten Rune wizard cults. 3 Meebits, 12 Doodles, 5 Punks, 1 Cyberkong, 12 Dead Fellas, 588 Crypto Kitty, which that's literally just pennies. So yeah, man, like there's a decent amount on there. 31 Capsule House, and the biggest by far is the 106 Bored Apes. So, again, I don't see how they can't honor those, right? Like there's no way that they took out any collateral against the NFTs, and the NFTs you can literally look at like it's not something that's fungible, right? So, that's the issue with the fungible token. It's a lot easier to socialize the losses versus the NFT. It's like it has a very clear owner, right? So, like, how does that owner not get that back? So, I have a hard time seeing these not potentially, not ending up opening up again whenever all the storm does clear and people being able to withdraw them. But I almost bet that the apes, though, that there's a good chance that FTX actually owns a decent amount of those apes, and that they bought them to try to kickstart trading on the platform.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, I bet you that those are probably employees or somebody inside that owns those, or at least a few of them.
Yeah, they've got to be, man, because there's no way that people just deposited 106 apes on there, right? Like it's got to be some type of, well, hell, they're not even listed. They're just sitting on there, not even listed. So, and there's some like pretty decent apes on there as well. So that's kind of surprising. Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's been a crazy, crazy past few days. So 80's like, tell me something good. Like, what is something good that you've experienced this last week?
Well, I've been sick all week, so on top of this shit. But something good this week is I am demoing my closet for my wife because our anniversary is in a couple weeks, and she has been wanting a beautiful closet with a nice chandelier, and made her happy to see our closet completely destroyed, and just excited to see her face whenever it's all done, man. Just want to make her happy. So that was something good that came into my life this week.
Love that, man. Adrian, what about you? Like, tell me something good, man.
I'm gonna say it's something good. It's really good that these douchebags got washed out of the market. Like literally, that's the best thing that could have happened. Because it had gone too far. We're already suffering, and then they caused more suffering. So it's kind of one of those things like, yeah, it's probably gonna get worse from the news that we hear, right? But at least we pulled the mask off of the Scooby-Doo villain. You know what I mean? It at least that's finished. Where it goes from here, we don't know. But I think that's really positive news for crypto, is that at least that was the biggest popper in the midst of our, adventure. And he just got caught. I think that's really positive.
Love that, man. Love that. So, Easel, what about you? Tell me something good.
Ooh, something good this week. Jesus Christ. I don't know, man. I get up every day. For me, every day is good. It's hard to pick out, a little thing of it. I'm just happy that I get up. I'm able to walk, able to drive. Just enjoy life, to be honest. I talk to people. I smile. I feel like every day is good. Besides this bullshit, everything is great.
Love to hear it, man. That's the way that I look at it too, right? Like it is, if you sit there and focus on all the shit that goes wrong, right, you're never going to be able to do anything right. So you've got to look past it, focus on what you can on what you can do, and then work with it from there. So that's kind of where I've been, and that's from all the bad, that's the good that I'm taking out of this is that, hey, like it's a different path. It's going to look different than what I ever pictured from a week ago, but like I'm excited for it. I also, another good thing too, bro, I finally like did that test stream last night and I had a blast. Like I've wanted to get back into that for a long time as another way to engage with people. And also too, man, like not to discount the freaking shit show that is Twitter right now, because Twitter is a mess in and of itself from what's coming out. I'm not sure how much of it is actually real and how much of it are people that are just rooting against Elon right now with his succession. But after the whole SPF thing, it's like I wouldn't put anything past anybody, right? So, who knows what's even going to happen with Twitter down the road. So, like, I think it's important to be able to diversify, where I have a presence. So that's one of the other reasons why I really want to, focus on trying to spend a little bit more time building up, the Twitch, YouTube, newsletter side of things, because it's like, bro, I want to be able to continue to communicate with everybody regardless of what happens on here down the road, right?
I'm
Like
still waiting for
basically
my
hedge your
newsletter.
bets. Hey, bro, I have actually put a decent amount of stuff down for it, and it is just it's been a distracting time, to say the least. So all my content has been purely put toward Twitter. Twitter, I mean, everything else going on with that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It'll happen. It's tough though whenever you haven't written for a while to really find your groove and find the structure that you want to kind of represent you and carry your voice.
Yeah, it's difficult to navigate through that and try to fine tune it and hone on one specific thing. But I mean, you're a multifaceted content creator. That's the title I would put, surrounded around financial markets and whatnot. Like if you can just keep exposing yourself to those multiple platforms that you're doing and be consistent with it, like if you have a newsletter, your readers are going to want to read that. They're waiting for it. So always keep that in mind too, like to always give back to that audience, to give them that those pure intentions back to them with being that consistent content creator, if that's the path you so choose.
Exactly, bro. I mean, hey, how did you figure it out? Whenever, for anybody that's in the audience that doesn't know, 80s is an author, wrote this badass book called Purality. What inspired you to finally sit down and do it? Had you ever had experience with writing prior to that? Like, what was it that really helped you focus in on that and, get to where you were able to publish a freaking book?
I mean, I explain it actually in the book, but I'll give you like a 5-second little thing here. I did write when I was younger. It was something, it was an outlet for me to express my emotions. Growing up, it was kind of hard to express those emotions, so I would write those thoughts out loud. And going through my healing journey after breaking my neck and experimenting with psychedelics and other stuff like that, it's like, I'm not doing anything right now productive. I need to give back to humanity. And that was my like motivation to say, fuck it. I'm going to sit down here every single day and I'm going to write. And I made it a discipline to set aside time. And you can do this with anything in life, just not with writing. I set aside a few hours in the morning to just write no matter what. And then later on that night, I would write again for a couple more hours. And just having that consistency with it, it's like I knew that I have a story to tell and I like writing. It's enjoying for me. I get joy out of it. I don't know if I'm a good writer or not, but I like to do it. And I got to the point where I was like, this is what I'm going to do moving forward, because everything else in life kind of like was taken away from me. So this was my avenue to deliver my pure intentions to help other people.
No, that's awesome, man. Because it's something that I think that what you just said there was really important, right? Where you're like, F it if if anybody else thinks I'm good or not, like I am just going to use this as an avenue because, it's almost like prayer, right? Where you're just sitting down and you're able to externalize those thoughts and put them down and be able to craft them. And it's a form of art in and of itself, right? You're not sitting there and you don't have a brush that you're painting with on a canvas. Your canvas is the paper, and what you're leaving the art, or piecing together the words on the paper, right? And like it's something that, in the same way that art can have a visceral impact on somebody that sees it and how it can connect with multiple different people in different ways. It's the same thing with words, whether you're speaking them or putting them down on paper, whatever it is. It's something that transcends you and that moment.
I also had it in a little post-it next to my computer. You're writing this book to help one person. You're not writing this book for clout, for fame, for sales, or anything like that. I never gave a shit about money or anything like that with books. And all I wanted to do was at least help one fucking person in life, because that's a noble life to live, to give those intentions out to people in a very, very loving, unconditional loving way. And I did. I succeeded. I was able to accomplish that. I have helped at least one person with that. And then the other piece of motivation that I always kept next to my computer, and I have it right here in front of me to this day, the sense of potential audience should create in you both energy and a feeling of obligation. Your writing will become more effective when you are aware that you must please, involve, awaken, provoke, excite, and move other people. And that was the motivation I needed. And that kept me going every single day.
I love that, man. Absolutely love to hear it. And I appreciate you guys coming up here today. So anybody that's in the audience right now, we never have 300 people that hop on the Wonky Stonk Weekly. And I need to change the title because I'm going to forget what episode that we're on.
We're on episode 38.
Okay, so it's 38, right? So
Yeah,
let me change that back real quick, because otherwise it gets confusing whenever I'm doing the next week. So NFTs Wonky Weekly Alpha, episode 38. So we've been doing this for 38 weeks straight, and we're gonna do it. I don't care what the price is. Like, I'm gonna do it for another 38 weeks, right? And another 38 weeks past that, because I enjoy being able to connect with you guys, to be able to open this up. And whether things are easy or whether they're difficult, right? Like, I think it's important to be able to continue to meet, have that community, and talk through them. So, yeah, man, it's always fun doing these. So every single Friday, we do it. Give LedgArt a follow. That is the Wonky Stonk account, and yeah, be on the lookout for them as we keep them up. I'm going to tweet out what I brought up earlier. I still need to think the best way to phrase it, etc. But as far as, keeping an eye on the situation with the stonks and making sure that, anybody that has one on there, that I'm able to help out if we end up getting them stuck. So we got to wait a little bit more clarity from FTX on that situation. Yeah, that's the most important thing at the end of the day. Like, it really is looking out for your community. So, and I looked at it like, bro, I've still got 220 stonks that I bought. I bought all of them on, secondaries myself, but I bought them for the purpose of being able to expand and grow the community. But more than anything else, I think the real important thing here is, it's like, bro, you got to protect the community you have. So, but yeah, guys, I've actually got to take a break because I've got to get some lunch, do some of that real quick. I'm going to hop on here in the next hour and a half with Unusual Whales and hop on their space, talk a little bit more about the FTX situation there. So also kind of got to give my voice a break too.
Yeah, much love, Kaleo, and appreciate everybody listening in today. And y'all have a beautiful weekend, and much love.
For sure. Thanks for bringing me up, man. Pleasure.
Yeah, man. Enjoyed it. Take it easy, guys. Everybody enjoy their weekend.
Have a great one, guys.